everyone. Welcome to the Talkin Kop. I am here with Kev. We are here to talk about our Carabao Cup game against Crystal Palace. It's happening tomorrow. Some people are looking forward to it. Some people are not looking forward to it for obvious reasons. Liverpool have been in a bit of a slump. Not the greatest performances, Kev. How are you feeling going into this match?
I'm intrigued to see how we tackle it at home against a side who definitely got the wood over us in our last two, or like nemesis, bogey side, whatever way you want to call it. Oliver Glasner at the minute has the wood over us, and be interesting to see how we handle it at Anfield. 4 losses in the league on the bounce. Take the Frankfurt result in isolation away. Form's terrible. Confidence can't be good. When Andy Robertson's coming out at the end of in a post-match press conference saying we don't have any structure to the side, it's an issue. So we'll get into what I think or what we think they'll be doing tomorrow night and what they'll probably be doing for this entire week. But yeah, there's definitely issues there, and there's definitely structural issues there. So.
Absolutely. I haven't had the opportunity to really talk to you about.
I was going to ask you actually
recently.
Yeah, because of all weeks for you to take a week off,
I know
you decided to take a lovely week off, and
it worked out really well. It was not intentional, but it worked out really well. There's never a better time to have no service, no Twitter, no social media, no nothing. I think I had about 1 bar of service, so even watching the games was tough. So yeah, it was kind of like a gift from the gods to be able to not have to watch that absolute kind of trudging through. And I apologize to you and Chris and anyone else that were doing the post-match shows, because they are so hard to do after these performances. I know it, and like, oh
plenty
gosh.
of practice. Plenty of practice, and the thing is, we were spoiled last year. We were absolutely spoiled last year, and this is. To me, this season is a slap across the face with a wet fish reminder of how cruel football can be. And it's frustration. And the frustration of fans every year in, year out, almost every side goes through something like this, whether it's in blocks or in a game. But, I mean, Man City went through it last season, and it was like, Pep's finished, Pep's done. The wheels have fallen off. He's lost the dressing room. It's this, that, and the other. And then suddenly, bit of time, bit of work, bit of reinvention, and it looks like and a bit of money, and it looks like they're starting to work on something that is bringing them back to looking like their old selves. I mean, Arsenal has spent a gazillion, billion, trillion euros, and
$1 billion.
They're still trying to make that leap, the big leap. And, it
may work for them, it may not.
Yeah.
We don't know that yet.
No, it's still 13 games into the season. We know there's problems. And tomorrow night, I think we're going to get a chance to see some fresh faces, see some different faces, see what they've been working on in training to try to correct what we know what Palace are going to do. Palace, doesn't matter what 11 they put out, Glasner plays a certain way against us, and that won't change. So, and we know what's coming. We know what they're going to do. So it's up. They have no excuses to say, "Oh, that Crystal Palace surprised us by doing that," unless he does change, which I doubt he will. You know what I mean? But it's like,
I mean, why change when you have something that's so effective?
Yeah.
And that's why all of these teams are doing these long balls. That's why Slot's calling it out. It's. I've seen people that are like, oh, is Slot giving something away? Like, everybody and their dog knows that we suck at these long balls. Like, trust me, Slot's not giving any away in these press conferences.
I would match on that, by the way. It would absolutely be hilarious.
Honestly, I'm sorry, JVT, but honestly, I'd rather have Sunderland pull a Leicester than watch Arsenal win the league. But, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's tomorrow, Kev.
Yeah.
You're talking, it sounds like you're talking about sort of a senior lineup. I've seen some very different opinions kind of floating around on what we should be doing with this game. So I listened to you guys yesterday a little bit on your reaction extra show. And it seemed like you and Gav kind of were of the consensus that, you know, we need to use this as a dress rehearsal and kind of get some sort of system that we can then use going forward. I've also seen the argument to say, you know, we've got lots of injuries, especially in key positions. There are players that we maybe don't want to risk in a game that maybe we probably should throw away. You know, have things changed for you? Like, is there a situation maybe where the Carabao Cup now is more important because it seems more of an achievable trophy because maybe the Premier League feels like it's farther away? I don't know. I'm just throwing out hypotheticals here.
No, I get where you're coming from, and I see this going around a lot. And I really, really, really don't want to come off as arrogant or snobbish or anything like that, because I've said this consistently for years. I don't give a tuppenny about the Carabao Cup until the semi-finals. I look forward to it more than the FA Cup because I love watching the players who you generally see involved in pre-season, and then they fade away. And then they come back for the Carabao Cup or the League Cup or the Milk Cup or the Littlewood's Cup or whatever iteration it holds. They come back for like the third round, the fourth round, the fifth round, and then usually they'll earn themselves a January loan, and we see them again next preseason. I've always felt like this, and tomorrow night I expect to see a few players of that ilk.
That being said, Slot has sold a lot of those players.
Not
Slot necessarily, but Hughes has sold a lot of those players.
Oh yeah, I know. But at the same time, the focus has to be the league, the Champions League, and anything else after that is what it is. It's not that I don't care about it. It's just so far below the totem pole of my give a shit meter. That
we should make that. That'd be fun.
No, it's just like, you know, you see some YouTube channels and they got tier lists. A, B, C, D. Mine is F to the factor of 50 on the League Cup and the FA Cup until it gets to the knockout rounds. Always has been, always will be. I still look forward to the games because it's usually not a sellout of season ticket holders. It's usually people who don't get a chance to go to games tend to get a chance to go to games. So the atmosphere is usually very good. And you get to see players who are fresh, who are training together all the time, but don't get a chance on a Saturday or a Wednesday night in the Champions League to show what they can do. So at the end of the day, we've seen what our starting 11 plus subs can do over the last month, over the season so far, really. And nobody's really impressed by it. So the structure and the system, what he wants to evolve into, that needs to stay the same. But the players he brings in, it's an opportunity for them. Show us what you can do and work your way in. Otherwise,
there's doors that are open.
Yeah. What are you saying to these players?
To be seized.
100. What are you saying to these players, these squad players? And they will know their roles within the squad. They're there for the early rounds of the Carabao Cup. They're there for maybe the early rounds of the FA Cup. They're there to supplement injuries and to develop their games, but they have to play to develop it. So when we'll do the lineups later on, there's players in there that I 100% do expect to see. Yeah. I think it'll be drip fed with a few senior players as well. But I haven't seen.
We don't have enough players to not have senior players.
No,
to be 100%.
Honest. Yeah, that's just the way things are at the minute with injuries and what have you. We're lucky enough at the minute we haven't been touched by suspensions, but we do have enough injuries at the minute to keep us going. I haven't seen an Arne Slot press conference for this.
He's not doing one.
No. So what's the story behind that?
Apparently they're optional for this competition. You know, we used to have Pep Linders do them for, you know, Klopp never used to do this.
Yeah.
And I guess in light of, you know, what's going on in the world of Liverpool, I wouldn't want to step up to the press either.
That's not a good look though, is it? It's not a good look to be fair.
He didn't do it last round either. So it's not just relative to the fact that we're doing poorly. Yeah. He chose not to do it in the last round as well. I agree with you. I think that's, I mean, I don't know if Sipka Huselhoff can speak English. I have no idea.
No, but Van Bronckhorst can.
He could, yeah. I think that someone should come out and speak, even if it's just to kind of answer a few questions about injuries or things like that. Again, you know, I understand the sort of closed shop mentality, but, you know, fans are fans and they want to know some of these things. And, you know, even if it's just kind of the really standard answers, I think it's better than nothing. That's just me, though.
No, I agree, 100%. I was surprised.
I agree with Dan, where it's like, if I was Arne Slot, I wouldn't want to do a press conference either. It would suck to kind of face the music here. That being said, like, you know, again, we haven't really talked because I've been away.
Yeah.
You know, his press conferences haven't really filled me with confidence recently. So, you know, there is a part of me that's like, maybe it's a good thing he's not speaking, because I don't know, the Arne Slot that we know and love from kind of past couple of weeks, months, years, whatever, it doesn't really seem to be the same Arne Slot. I feel like he's kind of flailing a little bit.
I was going to ask you, because you've been away. You haven't had a chance to properly speak on all of this. How do you think he, as a manager, because he's not used to this, it's throughout his managerial career, especially as, you know,
at senior level, he's never lost this many in a row.
Yeah. How do you think he's coping with it on the touchline? His substitution options, his tactical decisions. Last season, he was praised to the hilt for his flexibility in game and his decisiveness when he made changes. How do you see that now in this season so far, and with hindsight to what happened 12 months ago?
It's funny because I've thought about it a lot over the course of the last couple of days. There was a point last season that we all remember, which was the Forest game, where we were losing. And I think you saw in microcosm in that game what happens when Arne Slot is losing. And it's something that I've heard from the Feyenoord fans as well, where he really kind of decides to kind of let go of the original plan and really kind of go forward with whatever he has to try to win, even if it's at the detriment of the defensive stability. And I think he made some decisions in that Forest game that left us all scratching our heads. I know that we all came on in that post-match being like, what the fuck is Tsimikas and Bradley doing in a back three? Like, what's going on? That basically the substitutions that he made in that game lost us the game. And we all kind of said, you know, it's fine as long as he recovers, because that felt like sort of like a chicken with the head cut off moment of coaching. And I think we actually saw that a few more times last year. I think we saw it in the Newcastle game, specifically in the Cup, where it felt like when things were going against Arne Slot, again, when his back was against the wall, instead of kind of staying calm and collected and sticking with his methods, he very much, it very much looked like we were throwing the kitchen sink at things, and it looked like there was no structure at all. And so I guess, long story short, what I'm seeing right now is what we saw in those games when Arne Slot was losing, but we're seeing it kind of carry over, and we're seeing what happens sort of over the course of 2, 3, 4 games. I think that Arne Slot, when his back is against the wall, again, because he hasn't done this before, I don't think he has confidence in his convictions. I don't think that he feels strong enough to say, no, we're going with this system. I trust this system. I trust these players. We're not going to like move away from it, and we're going to fight through it. I think what you're seeing right now is kind of, we know he's a student of Pep, and I think what you're seeing is him galaxy braining it, basically. And I think that I think what he's doing feels very much like one foot in the Pep camp and one foot in the Klopp camp. And because he's got one foot in each, and it's kind of like the more offensive foot of both, it makes it look like we have no structure at all. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No,
but it's just kind of something that I've been mulling over, where it's like, if you look at Pep, for example, like he had to make adjustments with Haaland. And I feel like that's what we're seeing with Isak and with Ekitike. I think you're trying to kind of hold on to Klopp mentality, but also have like a striker like Pep has in a Haaland. And I think what you're seeing is the same lesson that Pep had to learn, where it was like, actually, if we're going to do that, we need 3 or 4 center backs. We need so much defensive cover. And we can't just kind of be all front-footed. So I don't know. Those are my general thoughts on it. I don't know if they'll make sense.
Well, Oshie makes a point here. Throwing all available attackers on just doesn't work.
No,
and he wishes he set
and that's what the Newcastle game was last year.
Yeah. Yeah. Madge makes a point. All the revisionism is bizarre. We won the title because of him, not in spite of him. He's not perfect, but he's a bloody good manager. He absolutely is a bloody good manager.
I think he's a fantastic manager, and I'm by no means saying that he's not. I think all I'm trying to say is that I think you saw in microcosm what happens when he panics a little bit. Yeah. And I think what you're seeing now is that kind of in a larger thing. And I think, I think it was Josh Williams that made a really good point the other day, where he was saying, do you blame the chef or do you blame the ingredients when things go wrong? And we have the same chef in charge that won us the title. The ingredients have changed, and that doesn't mean that the ingredients aren't great. They're really exciting, but at the same time, I think every single one of us, at least on this show and probably in this chat, all decided at the end of the season that there were certain areas that we were short in, and that they were beyond gambles. They were very clearly areas that we were being left short, and we didn't really understand that. And we kind of got caught up in all the shiny things, as people do, but that doesn't mean that like the problems weren't there. And I think all you're seeing right now is those problems being exposed. I don't think that's down to Slot. I think that might kind of we might need to turn the camera a little bit toward, what the recruitment plan is.
I think there's definitely a case that a lot of things that normally happen in a football club when a new manager comes in, we would have experienced this last summer. We would have had a manager change because the manager was sacked because the team was poor. You'd have had a changeover in personnel. You'd have had a bedding in period for the manager and the playing staff. And by now, next season, it would have kicked on and we'd have been fine. That's the normal run of events. The way it worked out was a rarity in football. Successful manager leaves, new manager comes in, keeps the squad the same, exceeds expectations in a massive way, wins a title at a canter. And then we have wholesale player changes with key players leaving, more key players coming in, and a glut of football, and it just hasn't clicked. Doesn't mean it's not going to click down the line, but it hasn't clicked at the moment. And tomorrow night is another chance for it to try and click. Next Level LFC made a comment earlier on. I just wanted to to bring this back up. A starting formation of a 4-4-2, which I agree with. In possession, 3-4-1-2, which I kind of agree with as well. And out of possession, back to a 4-4-2. I think out of possession, a 4-4-1-1. In possession, I agree, 3-4-1-2, where only one fullback goes. Whatever side you're attacking down, the opposite fullback stays.
I'm 100% on the same page with you there.
But that's not reinventing football. That's common. It's the same in midfield. One sits, one goes. And the starting formation, I like 4-4-2. Whatever you want to dress it up. I like the idea of having 2 strikers up front when one of them is an Isak and one of them is an Ekitike. One of them has the strength to drop deep and link up play. The other one has the strength to occupy centre backs and run in behind. So I kind of like where we could go, but it's a case of will he go there? I don't know. But time will tell. We'll see. But I just thought it's a new way of looking at it. But I don't get the logic, and I'm seeing it coming from people. I'm seeing it coming from guys I know and guys that I respect their football opinions, and they're turning around and saying, "Yeah, he's just lost the plot and need to cut this off at the knees and he's got to go. And I'm like, no. It's not how Liverpool move.
It's going to be the same. It's going to be the same kind of, like I said, with the ingredients. It's going to be the same disjointed team that has the same weaknesses, no matter who the coach is.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to kind of go every time you press the reset button. You see it with Manchester United. It's like you have to start all over again. Like you're not going to instantly get. Like Klopp is such a unicorn, and even with Klopp, there was still a reset.
Yeah. I tell you one thing. The one thing I'd say with all of this, do you remember when Brendan was at the club, his last full season, every show we did that summer, how has he still got a job? How are they letting him spend money? And a few months into the season, they finally pressed the button when they had no choice. He had lost the dressing room. It did go full circle. And it went beyond full circle, and it was going around again. So Liverpool Football Club always give their managers the utmost in time.
Yeah.
But no manager has got carte blanche on time. So he's going to have to accept the criticism, but all criticism doesn't end with sack the manager. It very rarely, if ever, does on here. If you start seeing people on here, especially in Talkin Kop, I know the guys for a long time now. If you start hearing constant stuff from the people who are on this channel saying, yeah, he's got to go, it's gone pear-shaped in a big way.
Yeah.
We're a long, long, long away from that. A long way from
that. Yeah, trust me, we don't want to get to that point because it can get worse than where we're at now.
Yeah, I think you
have to give him I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
He sets certain tactics, but you have to give him a chance to fix what's wrong. So if for example, he's smart enough to identify what's going on, I would give him you have to give him at least the January window to try to bring a couple of key people in. I would be a little bit worried if he decides in the January window, no, we're going to stick with what we've got and keep fighting. That would kind of raise some red flags.
Especially if you're not seeing progress. But what Bob is saying there is, I disagree with you. He set certain tactics, and it would be different with the new manager. Bob, completely understand where you're coming from. Totally respect your opinion. Fundamentally disagree with it. But that doesn't mean I disagree with it if it carries on in this vein and we're talking again in January. So, I think no matter what happens, he's going to have plenty of time they're going to give him enough time to get it right. But at the same time, the players are going to start questioning this as well. If we carry on doing the same thing over and over.
If you see Robertson coming out saying that, they are already questioning.
They're already
because Robertson is such a professional person. And I mean, he's been given the vice captaincy. He wouldn't come out and say that if it was just happening now. It must be building for quite a long time for him to kind of come out and feel the need to publicly say that.
Yeah.
Especially given the fact that he's not even getting picked for teams. So, sticking his neck out like that, he must kind of feel quite passionate about needing to make that message. And I'm with him. We've all kind of said this on shows where it's we do need to see a direction. I think I posed a question in our chat the other day where I wish I could do a poll. I don't know how to do a poll, but if you were to ask everyone in this chat, do you have a clear idea of what the identity that Arne Slot is trying to implement for this team? If you could explain it, can anyone do that in the chat? And I can't do that. And I mean, You and I literally sit here every single day, just watching endless, the number of clips that I watch is embarrassing. And I cannot tell you what direction he's going in. It feels like every time I think he's going in one direction, he takes another step backwards, or he tries something new, or it's I think all of us would like to see just something that feels a little bit consistent. And I totally understand that different teams will set up different ways, and maybe the lineup that we got with Frankfurt that looked amazing was largely due to Frankfurt's kind of really attacking mindset.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's enough there that you can carry. And I just want to see something carry. And it just feels like we're pressing the restart every single time. And that's hard.
Yeah, it is. It's hard for, look, John Ball makes the point here. Realistically, we've only probably played well in one game for a full 90 minutes since the end of February. And that was the Spurs game, which we won the league. I still think the Frankfurt game was absolutely phenomenal.
That was good. I mean,
I enjoyed.
I don't know if it was just like recency bias because you're like, oh my god, we actually won, but it looked good.
It looked good, and I get where John is coming from, because I think the pressure was when the pressure came off of winning the title, so did the danger of losing it, and I think you can almost look at the last half a dozen games in the league after the Spurs game and just go, yeah, don't matter. But at the same time, through preseason and into this season so far, I get where John is coming from. We haven't really put together a proper 90 minutes of meaningful football. We've seen glimpses. We've seen stages of like 20, 30 minutes.
You could go back even further than that Spurs game.
You could
go back to, I would say, Newcastle in the league was the last time that I felt really comfortable. And it was when we were kind of experimenting with those 2-8s. That was the last time that I feel like we really controlled a game. I think that the Tottenham game was absolutely just adrenaline that was driving it. But in terms of control and feeling that 100% of the 90 minutes, I don't think we've had that.
I think Matt makes a great point here. The spending that we did, Matt is saying the 400 million is future proofing. It's not a short-term success. I agree with you.
It's absolutely true.
It's 400, and you look at the age profile of the players that we brought in, the vast majority are between 21 and 25. So it is building for the future. But when you're spending 400 million, irrespective of what we sold, when you spend a club record amount of money in a transfer window, you need to see that on the pitch.
You've got to have a bridge.
And the problem when you don't, you're giving a feral media loads of stuff to work with, and they are using it left, right, and center. I mean, look, they are what they are, and thankfully, the vast majority of people who are regulars in this chat see through the bullshit. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't, and that's the world we live in. Look, tomorrow night, Crystal Palace, League Cup. What are you expecting to see? Because I looked at the Palace. I didn't watch the game, but they lost away in the Conference League last Thursday night. They went strong-ish. They made a few changes, but not substantial changes. And they've won one, lost one in the Conference League, so it's not plain sailing for them. What are you expecting from Palace tomorrow night, squad-wise? Not lineup-wise. I don't want to name a lineup, but how strong do you think Palace take this? Bearing in mind, against Millwall in the last round, they went fairly strong. Now, granted, Millwall are local rivals, local derby, and local rivals. Like, it's not just a London derby. They literally are next door neighbours. So they went strong in that one. Do you think they go strong again?
I think they have the capability to go stronger than we do based on our injuries. So if we don't want to play first 11 players, I think that the teams are going to look kind of lopsided. So if we put out kind of our second string based on injuries, I think our side will look more like an academy team and their side will look more like a second string, if that makes sense.
Yep.
I think that if Arne Slot looks at this as a training opportunity for his first team squad and he peppers in a little bit of the youth like a Neoni or an Ngamoa or, I don't know, even like a Ramsey, which might happen.
Have you been spying on my starting 11?
I have not, but we clearly are,
honest to God, what are you like?
I'm in line with Grumpy Kev. But yeah, I think that if he decides to use it as a training exercise where it's like, there aren't friendlies lined up for these teams set up and he has no time on the pitch to fix this stuff. So if he wants to use this as, I think it's 5 subs, I would use it almost as a preseason match where you're looking at, giving the youngsters kind of the bulk of the minutes, and I would be rotating the senior players in, and I would be asking them, this is what we want to do this weekend. And we want to see that and allow the young kids to echo that because we want them to echo it anyways. We want them to kind of play in a similar style. So that's how I would approach it personally. I don't know if you agree with that.
Have you got an 11 that you go with? Or do you want me to name mine and you can tell me which one?
So I mean, I can give you like a rough.
Yeah, go on.
A rough idea. I mean, I think it's been made clear in the media that Woodman is going to get this game.
Yeah.
Because Allison's injured. You know, otherwise it would be Marmadashvili. So I think Woodman goes in goal. I think you see Gomez as a center back.
Yeah.
I think the big question is who plays next to him.
Mm-hmm.
I think left back, you're probably going to see Robertson.
Yep.
And I think right back, you might see Ramsey because by all accounts, he's been doing really well. You know, he's training with the youth team and, you know, he didn't have the loan that we thought he was going to have. He had many, many injuries, but we have to remember that when we signed Ramsey, he was considered the next Trent. That was universally across the board. He was considered the next Trent. And if that's something that we feel like maybe we need that kind of player, this is a great game to kind of test the waters and see where he's at fitness-wise. So, especially because we have only Bradley and he has his fitness issues, I would say maybe that's a wild card there.
Yeah.
I think
I'd go with that as well. He's been at the club since 2022.
He's been at it for a while, but he's been plagued by injuries.
I agree with you. He was really highly rated when we brought him in. A lot of pressure on him, and you've seen it with a lot of players of that age when they come in. Fitness is the biggest issue. Stefan Bacelic is the classic example of it.
And it's a shame that he's not going to be ready for this match. It's such a shame.
Yeah.
Because he was close, according to reports. He is kind of playing for the under-21s, but he's not going to be ready for this.
Exactly. But Ramsey is, and he played for the 21s. I'm pretty sure he played in Frankfurt. Or not, he might not have played in Frankfurt, but he did play in the derby at the weekend. And by all accounts, he played really well. Now, look, we have a problem at right back. I don't want to see Dominic Szoboszlai at right back.
Oh my God, no.
Not just in this game, but not in any game.
No, I don't want to see it.
With Frimpong being out, Bradley has issues with injuries, so there's no need to be risking him in this. So, yeah, your options are Joe Gomez, play at right back, or
you need a center back.
Or Endo to play at right back, which we don't want to talk about.
I think Endo might be your other center back.
No, I don't. I think
I don't like it. I don't know if Nalo is. I believe he's fit.
Yeah.
But he's just coming back from fitness, and I mean he's the only other option really, unless he's going to play Virgil and just decide, you know, like I said, we're gonna do a couple senior players 50-50.
Yeah,
so that's your other option.
That's what I did. Okay. I mean, the fact that it's at home and we're not traveling is a bonus, right? My back four and keepers: Woodman and goal, Ramsey at right back, Gomez, Virgil, Robertson. That's my back four.
I mean, you've got plenty of seniority there, and then you have your one kind of youth player that can kind of, you know, vibe off of everyone else. Yeah. And I like that. I think.
And a halftime swap Canazio, no problem, right?
Okay.
What would you go with in midfield?
I think McAllister needs minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know where Gravenberch is coming back from injury. Does he need minutes to get back from injury, or is that ankle injury still bothering him? So I think Jones is out.
Yeah.
You know, if we're gonna play Virgil at center back, Endo probably goes in there.
Yeah.
So you've got McAllister, Endo, and then, you know, it's sort of up to what Slot wants to do further forward.
Yeah, I put Trainioni in there.
I think that's probably a good call.
Yeah, I put Trainioni in there. But what I'd do is I'd ask them to do what Florian Wirtz did at Frankfurt.
Trainioni can do that. He can play further forward. So and we saw that in preseason. He was really good at it. He scored when he was playing in that attacking 8 role.
Exactly. But off the ball, I want him drifting back to the right to defend in a 4-4-2.
Okay.
And on the ball, I want him coming inside, linking up the play, and getting involved in the middle of the park. I'm really looking forward to seeing how he's used tomorrow night. I don't mind that midfield three. Plenty of experience, hasn't got great legs. Let's be
It's a little bit defensively minded, though. I think that it depends on what that he wants to do with McAllister. I would love to see Endo and McAllister sit in that double six because McAllister can do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. And then forwards, I think you're going to go with Rio and you're going to go with Chiesa, and I think the middle one is your wild card. Is Isak fit? Does he need minutes? Does he need confidence? I don't know.
If Isak is fit, I think he plays.
I think we've got to get him into form. I mean, the fact that we have paid as much as we have, I know that it's funny because we all harp on Wirtz and how he's not living up to expectations. I have no idea who this guy that we signed is, that's sitting in our number 9 position, because that's not Isak. I know he's not fit, or I know he wasn't fit, but he should be fit now. And I'm not seeing who we signed for that amount of money at all.
Look, as long as he's fit and available, I'd have no problem playing him. Try to get an hour out of him, and if we need to, bring Ekitike on the hour and give him the last 30 minutes. I still think that's a strong enough 11. I do, because
I don't know. I cannot say it.
Oisin.
Whatever. He's saying that Isak's away for surgery. Can anyone confirm that?
Isak away for surgery, I heard, so don't know if he'll be there. Right. If it's a case that Alexander Isak is out with see, this is the thing with not having a press conference. We don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But if it's a case that we don't have Isak, I really wouldn't want to use. I'd almost play Salah on the right, and Chiesa through the middle before I play Ekitike.
I think that you probably need to protect Ekitike because he is currently our inform.
Our only real number 9. But the other
I know
side
I nearly had it, Steve. It's Oisin, but we can't. It's awful. I can't do it.
But the other side of it is Saka. Salah didn't start in Frankfurt. Only came on at. I think he came on at the death. So
he's got less minutes in his legs.
Exactly. If you're going to have to rotate the squad, that's how I would rotate it. So Chiesa plays through the middle, Salah on the right, and Rio on the left. I think no matter which way you look at it, I think you have to have Trainioni and Rio playing the 90. If they're going to be, if we're targeting them, we didn't loan them out. We wanted them in and around the squad. They have to play these games. They have to. There's otherwise, what's the point in having them in the squad at all? Just let them go out and loan, or let them go and play with the under-21s or the under-19s, and then in January send them out and loan. We build up their values like we always do, and we flog them on. I can't see that as being the plan for either of these two kids. They're too talented. So I want to see them playing, and I also I don't mind seeing Endo playing. I need to see McAllister playing. Joe Gomez didn't have the best game against Southampton, but a lot of that is going to be put down to, look, what the hell do you expect? He's hardly kicked the ball in anger since pre-season. So he's had minutes now coming off the bench, 15 minutes here, 10 minutes there. So it'll do him the world of good as well. And it's not as if Virgil or Ibu are pulling up any trees. So it's up to him to say, look, Arne, I'm here. Chiesa comes on tomorrow night, scores a couple. Arne, hello. I deserve to be starting on the right.
You're talking, if you go through some of those senior players, you think about Gomez, you think about McAllister, you think about Chiesa. All of those players can absolutely play their way into the starting 11. Nobody's pulling up trees in our starting 11. Maybe bar Szoboszlai.
I'd love to live in a world where Alexis McAllister finds his form, plays out of his skin tomorrow night, and saying, I'm back to somewhere near my best. At his best, he's a World Cup winner who was essential to how we played last season. Essential. Unsung hero of the season last season. So we know what an Alexis McAllister brings to the squad, but it's just not there at the moment. So playing in the games like this will give him the chance to get back to somewhere and hopefully he plays the 90.
I hope so. And I think, it's funny. It's funny how kind of short term our memories are with McAllister, because I would argue that next to Mo Salah and next to Virgil van Dijk, he was our player of the season last year.
Are we confused?
No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this live.
We're not doing this?
No, we're not doing this
Okay,
live.
we're not doing this
No, we're
live.
not doing this
All
live.
right.
We'll do this
So
on a Patreon show or something.
For people who are listening on Spotify, what you need to do is go to the link to the Patreon group, to the Patreon app. Download the Patreon app. The QR code is on the screen. Download that. Give it a go for a month. Then go and watch Ref Watch from tonight. And you'll see a great show, a really great show. And at the end of the show, you will have a dialect coach telling Ashley how to say a name, an Irish name, in the proper language.
It's so different from an American accent that like we just don't have anything that has that inflection. Like
exactly, yeah.
We just don't.
Nope, nothing.
And I sound like an idiot, and I think that's why Gav makes me say it all the time, because I sound like an idiot.
But yeah. So look, give the Patreon app a go. It does help us out a lot, and there is some really great shows like tonight's Ref Watch show. Absolutely brilliant, loved it, and give feedback on that on the Patreon app as well after with what your thoughts are. And also give a shout out to Kyle.
Yes, yeah, Kyle.
Do you want to do that?
If you weren't on Patreon, Kyle. He threw in a really helpful still shot, and it showed a really interesting angle of the Virgil van Dijk incident, and it was really, really helpful with our Ref Watch.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we mentioned in the show is that if anyone listening, if you're in our Telegram group and you see something that you want to see on Ref Watch, especially, and you see an angle, like it's super, super helpful for me because I'm pulling a lot of different angles from a lot of different places. I can't see them all. And I didn't see this one angle that Kyle was able to provide. So that was awesome. Thank you, Kyle. And I encourage anyone that's in the chat to also participate that way, because it is really, really helpful.
Yeah. And for these shows as well, leave comments after the show. Hit the like button, obviously. But yeah, it does help get the channel out there. The more interactions post the shows. So any comments you guys have after the shows, if we're talking shite, tell us. Don't make it personal, you know what I mean? Because that's just childish. But, look, Steve there, Scan Kev's shirt, the link for the Patreon. Yeah, do one.
That's
you know
fantastic.
What I mean? Exactly, yeah. But, look, any interaction you guys do post-show with us, it really does help the channel. And we do read them all, you know, so it doesn't go unnoticed. But, yeah, look, tomorrow night.
So you're going half youth, half...
Yeah. Strong bench, though.
Okay, you're going strong bench.
Yeah, I'm going with a strong bench because, look, I fully expect the core of the squad, the vast majority of the squad, to have full training session tomorrow.
Okay.
As full a training session as you can on a match day with the players who aren't going to be really involved. So I hope Arne Slot is using this week to really work with the squad as much as he can, set pieces, defensive shape, transitions, really work on that, because the next 3 games that we've got coming up are huge. Villa are flying.
Yeah, they've turned it around, and
they've turned it around.
Maybe that's kind of something to kind of hang your hat on, where it's like they looked awful, they looked terrible, and within the space of a couple of weeks they've turned it around, and I would love to see something like that. I honestly think we need this win for confidence more than anything else, because I do think. There were a couple comments in there. I know that we were saying that Arne Slot has money in the bank and all these things. There is an argument that Anfield will start to get toxic. And I don't worry about like the true fans that, are there all the time supporting the team. But I do worry about, what that starts to feel like and how that transmutes to the team. And I think that we need to kind of get something going. So it's like, if it comes, I don't know, I guess I'll pose the question to you. Do you think it's more important to get the balance right with fitness and resting certain players? Or do you think it's more important to get the win for like the mentality?
No, I think at the moment it's performance. Okay. Get the performance right, the wins will come. Okay. I think at the minute, it looks like players are playing within themselves. I think there's a bit of fear. I think forward players are snatching that they think we're going to have to score 2 or 3 because we're going to concede 1 or 2. And that's not a healthy place to be. We've seen that on the clock for a while. For a few years where we were playing games where we knew we had to score 3 to be able to get a win. It's not a sustainable place to be. We have to go back to being horrible to play against, aggressive and nasty. But when we get the ball, keep it. You keep the ball and make sides run, and they don't like it. They come out of shape and they give you chances. But the problem is, like we saw against Brentford, you concede an early goal against a side who's set up in a 5-4-1 to play on the counter. It's manna from heaven because they will sit in shape. And any good side, and every side in the Premier League are a good side with good players. It's the easiest thing in the world to do to coach a side to play in a 5-4-1 and shift across and shift back, track runners. Setting up to be a defensive side is the easiest thing in the world to do. Setting up a side to take risks and to leave 2 centre-backs on their own to defend 2v1 against a striker and throw, not at the kitchen sink at it, but be aggressive in an attacking third is hard. And I don't care who you are. And the worst thing to come up against is a good side willing to throw their bodies on the line. And look, we know what Palace are about. We know they look to use their wing backs.
We know what doesn't work against Palace as well.
Exactly, yeah.
So I really hope we don't see what we saw that first half. Because if we don't see with that first half, I will probably throw my TV out the window.
Yeah, you can't go too narrow against this side. You've got to hold your width. That's why I think Rio could be key tomorrow night.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how he does.
Because he loves taking players on.
And it's another shout for Salah out wide. And especially because they have a really good dynamic together. I think that Salah, I actually think he raises his level like almost to teach Rio, and Rio raises his level to prove something to Salah. So I think that there's something really nice there that you could kind of play on.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting look, I look forward to the game. I look forward to watching some players. I'm interested to see how Ramsey does.
Me too, because I haven't watched any sort of significant football from him. I don't get a lot of coverage of the U21s. I don't know if you've seen that much of him, but the reports that I've read are very, very they're speaking really highly of him.
Steve, who's in the chat, is normally in the chat, not Red Steve, but another guy named Steve. He's he watches the 21s a lot, and he's been not glowing about him, but he's starting to look like he could be an option off the bench to try it. The fact that Frimpong is going to be out, I'd love to have the ability to turn around to Calvin Ramsey and say, look, you're an option. Frimpong, get yourself physically right. Get physically right, and we don't need you to rush back. So after the next international break, hopefully we start seeing Frimpong again. So if we can,
and he's not a child, like he's 22 years old.
Yeah, exactly. And he's been around the club now for a while, and you hope that his injury stuff is behind him for his sake, for the player's sake, more than anything.
And maybe he's playing for a loan. That's the other thing.
Possibly.
Like, you have this opportunity to play for a loan in January. I mean, if everything goes smoothly, that'd be great if we could afford to send him out on loan. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things going in his favor. You want a good performance from him.
Exactly. And you know what? Oshie makes a point there. Ramsey needs to be playing men's first team football to judge him properly. Absolutely true. It's great. I think the one thing you can say about playing against the 21s, playing in the 21s, you're playing against your age group, you're playing against your peers of that age. They're generally quick and technical. So that part of it is fine. What you have to get used to is the physicality of the men's game. And it's the one thing the Palace do bring is a level of physicality. The Premier
League.
Yeah.
Like, it's all well and good to be able to play against like small technical players, but that's not the direction we're going in right now. Unfortunately, it is kind of harkening back to the 90s, and whether it's long throws or set pieces or whatever, that's where we're at, and we need to make sure we have players that can cope with that.
I think Arsenal aren't the only team to be playing with 3/4 centre backs along the back four. I mean, Arsenal have been doing it for a while.
It was Pep Guardiola that invented that. It's not It was not Arteta. And that's kind of what I was getting at before, where it's like Pep Guardiola plays on the edge of like what's happening next in football. Yeah. And I genuinely feel like he knew that this is the direction that teams were going in. Yeah. And that's why he stockpiled. And I think that Arteta, as a student of Pep, also knew that. Yeah. And there's a reason why they look so defensively solid in this kind of world of football that we're seeing, because like they knew what was going to happen. I think, one of the problems when it comes to our recruitment is that we were not proactive enough in making sure that we could compete with this. Yes, we have all of the attacking flair in the world, but it really doesn't matter if we can't cope with this. And it shouldn't surprise anyone. Like there were teams that were doing this last season as well. So, and they will continue to do it. I mean, if you look at a graph of long balls, like it's actually laughable how much more we get played in that style versus anyone else. And it's because we're garbage at it.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with set pieces. We are garbage at set pieces right now. I didn't get the chance to kind of speak on this. I didn't even see the set pieces that we scored on from Frankfurt. So we're still garbage in my mind. But like that's a huge area that we need to improve. And
big time.
Like, and just to kind of make it clear for anyone, because I was reading so many comments about our new set piece coach. We don't have a new set piece coach. We have Aaron Briggs, who was here last year. He is the same set piece coach that Arne Slot has had this whole time. He has been garbage this whole time. The set piece coach that was supposed to come over from Feyenoord, he didn't come over. The ad that we sent out for a new set piece coach never got answered. All we did was give that title to the guy that was filling in as our temporary set piece coach. So we do not have a new set piece coach.
It really grinds your gears.
It really grinds my gears. And all the people that were in the chat that was like, oh no, we don't. We also hired like an analyst from Southampton who, as far as my knowledge goes, weren't great at set pieces either. So there's an area there that we can absolutely improve. And if you want to talk about like quick changes to the coaching staff, instead of pointing the finger at Arne Slot, start pointing the finger in that direction, because that's where we're conceding the most goals. And that's where we're lacking the scoring of most goals. We have so many corners. So yeah, if you want to point the finger at someone, that's who I'd be pointing the finger at. Sorry, that's my own personal little campaign. It was just, it was grinding my gears.
It's been bubbling. It's been waiting to come out.
It's really been doing it. So I don't know. Maybe we score a set piece goal tomorrow. That'd be fantastic.
Well, yeah. In fairness, if we ever repeat what we did at Frankfurt, happy days.
I mean, that'd be great. I actually would love to see the goals. Not with reinforced Wi-Fi.
Worth having a look. Right. The other sponsor of the show is NordVPN. Ashley, you can attest to NordVPN.
They do work up in the air, which was surprising. So, although the game against Brentford sucked, I watched it from an airplane. I flew over the, I don't know what it's called now, Gulf of Mexico is what I'm going to go with for the political correct folks out there. You can, whatever.
Gulf of Mexico.
As far as I know, it's called the Gulf of Mexico. So I was flying over the Gulf of Mexico for that Brentford game. I had no issues watching that game in the air on an airplane. And so for me, that's a good enough endorsement for NordVPN. The fact that Matt was able to watch games out in China, also fantastic endorsement. So if you want to watch games that are sort of outside your region, I guess, for, lack of a better term, NordVPN is your service. They are also great for just like shows and stuff like that are on Netflix. So check that out. Yeah. Give it a click. It helps us kind of keep the lights on, along with the Patreon that's down below. So we do appreciate that. And even just comments after the show help keep the channel going. So
yeah, it does. It does actually. I mean, Madge made the point earlier on, and Madge, I really don't know if this is a thing with YouTube at the minute. But I've been watching a lot of stuff on YouTube lately, and the ads are horrendous.
They are. I'm sorry, Madge. They are beyond our control. We have no control of those pop-ups, and they are awful right now. Yeah,
there's nothing we can do about it, unfortunately. It's just the way that YouTube has gone. I wish it was different, but it ain't, unfortunately. But anyway, score predictions, then we can go. Go on.
Okay. 2-1 to Liverpool. I don't think we can keep a clean sheet to save our life. I'm going to go with a Chiesa goal and a Mo Salah goal, because I think that once he kind of hits form, hopefully he'll just get going. And that was a fantastic goal the other night, even though it wasn't enough to win. That was a great finish. So I'm going to go with both of those.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough. They are a tough team. They don't give away a lot of goals.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 2-0. I think we will get the clean sheet. I do think Palace are going to make changes. I think they might have a bit of a stronger bench, but I think Glasner at the minute has to start looking at the bigger picture. I think the loss away in the Conference League would have knocked him a bit. They haven't been pulling up any trees of late. You know, if you take the result against us aside, they're not really any great shakes at the minute. They're not showing any great form. And losing away in the conference the way they did, with the lineup that they went with, I think they would have had ambitions at the start of the season of winning that Conference League. I still think they probably will, but I don't think you can go on 4 competitions with the squad that they have. Maybe they'll fancy their chances against us, see us in a weakened state at the minute, and think, sod it, I'll just go full tilt at Liverpool and let the cards land how they may. I'd be surprised if he does that.
I would prefer that. I actually think that we would do better if they decided to kind of go full tilt. I think it's the alternative that we find most difficult.
Yeah.
So
Madge is going F it 1-0. Gavin's going 2-1 Liverpool, Rio and Chiesa.
I wouldn't mind that.
I think Davey earlier on went for 2-1 to us and a 2-1 win for Newcastle as well, which is fair enough.
I mean, Red Steve has been drinking something.
Yeah, well, that's been one. Oisin is going for 2-1 Chiesa double, and then Nketiah for Palace.
Davey says that Woodman won a tournament for England on penalties.
Yes,
so
he did.
Maybe if it does go, he said under 18s. Yes. Maybe if it does go to penalties, there's a little bit of I don't know, like second coming of Kelleher with our backup keepers doing fantastic things. I really hope it doesn't go to penalties though.
No, me neither. Well, Dan J has gone with a 2-2 and pens. He doesn't say which way it's going to go. Now, yeah, I mean, Woodman is interesting. Look, we'll slip off in a sec. Woodman is interesting because I think he's actually a good keeper. When the little bits of him that we saw in pre-season,
he was decent.
I thought he was decent. I thought
he was good with his feet.
Yeah, that's me too.
One of those issues with Marmadashvili, I think he's a fantastic shot stopper and he's big.
Yeah,
but I actually think that Woodman might be a little bit better with his feet.
I think he's good with his feet. The thing that frustrated me in the Brentford game with Mamadashvili was when he went long. It wasn't very accurate, and he was going long to Ekitike, who couldn't jump.
He's never been good at heading. That was one of the things that when we were looking at like strikers at the beginning of the summer, it's not his forte.
Yeah, for someone who's 6'3",
you need Isak there to hold the ball up.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to trust the players around you. One, to give you the ball on the right, on your preferred foot.
Well, yeah, they keep passing to the right, and I think that's just an Allison thing where they're just used to passing back to Allison.
But they have to give him options, and this is what we're not doing at the minute.
Well, you also have Kirk as just like kamikaze
or
running
whoever
everywhere.
It is. The centre back split, the full backs go, and whoever's playing in the 6 drops in a bit trying to find space, but they're not trusting him to give him the ball. Not all the time, and not in tight spaces. It's funny enough, I was saying about YouTube earlier on, I was watching something on YouTube earlier on, and it was a look at other players' reactions to talking about Zinedine Zidane. Now, look, we don't have a Zinedine Zidane.
No, we don't.
But one of the...
I wish we did.
No, I think a Zinedine Zidane doesn't exist in today's world. But the one thing that players all said about him, you could give him the ball with a player 3 yards away from him on either side, in front of him or behind him, and it didn't matter. He wouldn't lose it. And we do have players that you can do that with. We do have players that you can give them the ball in tight spaces and they can use it. So start trusting them. It's a risk to take them, to give the ball into a Gravenberch, to let him turn and take players on, because it will commit players to him, and that in turn will free up space in behind when he spins. McAllister the same. He's very good with the ball at his feet in tight spaces. Trust him to give him the ball. It's little things like that. And that seems to be that confidence from last season, which we did have, has gone. And that reverts back to the results and the confidence within the team at the minute. But look,
it'll be an interesting lineup to look for tomorrow. I think that'll tell us a lot about what Slot is planning. Because there is also a left field option where it's all U21 players and we have no idea who they are. So I don't know. We shall see.
We could go the other way and say, look, you lot got us into this mess. Get us out of it.
He could.
And we won't know until 6:45 tomorrow night when the lineups come out.
The time change is really messing with me.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't changed over here yet. So
it's changing this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
For you guys, yeah.
We'll work with it.
Yeah. Anyway, listen, thanks to...
That's good for tonight.
Yeah. Thanks everyone in the chat. Comments have been great. Tried to read out some of them.
We appreciate you all so much.
We really do. Hit the like button on the way out. Leave comments. Score. Leave us what you think the score will be. Predicted scores and that. We'll have a look at that and compare it tomorrow night when we're doing the reaction and see who got close. All right. But as for anything else, Ash?
No, I don't think so. I'm looking for a performance tomorrow. Just do something.
Yeah. I want to be entertained. Entertain me.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, just give us a direction of travel.
Exactly.
Just so we can have a little bit of confidence.
Give us a bit of hope here. That's all we need is a bit of hope.
I know. Speaking of hope, Dan, there is no Bacetich. He is injured. Sorry. But everything else, just give us a little bit of hope. And I would love. It doesn't take much. A Rio goal or a Chiesa goal. Like a great Chiesa song, all of those things, they can just turn things right around. So that's what I'm hoping for. Mood change tomorrow night. That's what I'm putting out in the universe.
Yeah. There you go.
That's it for tonight, though. So we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Night.
Slán.